Yeah, good afternoon, guys. Hope you're doing good. And yeah, let me continue the friction part 2. In this session, I'll try to take only half an hour, 30 minutes, because video is taking longer time to upload in YouTube, right? So, especially this is for Telangana Social Welfare Boys Residential College, and anyways, if anybody is interested, then they can also watch my video. Fine. This is friction number 2. Yesterday, last class, I have stopped at kinetic friction. I think kinetic friction. Fine. So let me write the definitions again. What is meant by static friction? What is meant by limiting friction? And then we have discussed about kinetic friction, right? So first one is static friction. Static friction generally will denote with Fs. Fs is nothing but static friction. We can define like this. The friction exists as long as the body is at rest. Right? I'm just giving you definitions. If you want in detail, you can go through my first video, right? In friction number 1 continued, there you can see, right? I have explained in detail. So I'm just writing the definitions. So here, body must be at rest. If the body is at rest, that friction exists in the body and the surface, between the contact surfaces, is called as static friction. Second type is kinetic friction or kinetic friction. Before going to kinetic friction, now let me give you limiting friction. Second one is limiting friction is a part of static friction only, right? I'm not limiting it. So here limiting friction is a part of static friction. That means if you go on applying force on a body, so friction also increases accordingly till it reaches its maximum value. That maximum value of static friction is called as limiting friction. Right? I can define like this. Limiting friction in some books it will be denoted by FL, or in some books it is denoted with FMS. Limiting friction, FMS, maximum value of static friction or limiting friction simply. So the maximum value of static friction is called limiting friction. Yesterday I have explained about graph, right? You will understand all these definitions from the graph itself. And kinetic friction remains constant, even though whatever the force you apply on the body, kinetic friction remains constant. Static frictional force is a self-adjustable force. It will not depend. What I mean to say is, when you go on increasing the applied force, frictional force also increases accordingly till it reaches its maximum value. That friction is called as limiting friction. Fine. So these two are the definitions that I have given you yesterday, and also I have given the definition of kinetic friction. Let me write the definition of kinetic friction as well. Right. So let me define the kinetic friction. Kinetic friction will come into picture when the body moves. Right. Second type we have discussed is kinetic friction. Denoted by Fk. So the friction exists. The friction exists as long as the body is in motion. Is called as kinetic friction. I have written the formulas as well. Fs you don't have any, for static friction you don't have any formula. For static friction you don't have any formula. Why? Because it depends only on the applied force. Whatever the applied force that you give on the body, the same force it will take. It will adjust itself to the same value of applied force. Don't have any formula. But for FL, limiting friction is directly proportional to normal force, or you can write like this: FMS, maximum value of static friction, is directly proportional to normal force. If I remove this proportional symbol, I will get constant. That constant is called as coefficient of static friction, and we will denote like this: FL is equal to mu s into N. What is this mu s called? Mu s is called as coefficient of static friction. And similarly, I have written the formula for Fk. If you remember, I have written the formula for Fk as kinetic friction or kinetic friction, coefficient of kinetic friction multiplied by normal force. This is the formula that I gave you yesterday in the last class for kinetic friction, mu k into N. Mu s is nothing but coefficient of static friction. This mu k is called as coefficient of kinetic friction. Fine. So now let me ask you, and I told you one more point. Kinetic friction does not depend upon area of contact. Yesterday's class, last class, you go through my video, right? Kinetic friction doesn't depend upon the area of surfaces in contact. Area of surfaces in contact. Important. Area of surfaces in contact. Right? Kinetic friction does not depend upon area of surfaces in contact. Why also I have explained, by considering a brick which is placed horizontally on the surface, and if it is lifted vertically also, you will get the same formula, because Fk is nothing but mu k into N. This can be written as mu k in mg, because normal force is balanced by weight of the body. Normal force is balanced by weight of the body, right? In the last class that I gave you, I'm just giving you brief, right? Till here we have discussed. And what about mu? Mu depends upon what? Mu depends upon whatever I have written till now. Mu s I have written, and also I have written mu k. These two will come under mu only, and one more is there. Let me discuss that one also. Another type of friction is nothing but rolling friction. Another type of friction is, this is third type. First type is static friction. In static friction, you will come across limiting friction as well. Limiting friction is a part of static friction. Second one is kinetic friction. Third one is rolling friction. It is denoted by the symbol Fr. Rolling friction. The name itself says any rolling body you need to consider here, like cylinder, cylindrical drum, wheel, right? All these bodies will roll on the surface, or lawn roller, right? Any automobile will ply on the roads, right, with the help of wheels. So wheels, I mean, even if you take a luggage bag, luggage bag nowadays, you might have seen with trolleys. You can pull them easily, right? They have wheels provided at the bottom, right? So rolling friction, anything which rolls, then that friction exists is called as rolling friction. Let me write the friction exists as long as the body rolls, on the surface, is called rolling friction. And this rolling friction, one more important point to be noted here is rolling friction depends upon area of contact. It depends upon area of contact. Whereas kinetic friction does not depend upon area of contact. Important point to be noted here is rolling friction Fr depends upon the area of contact between the surfaces. Why? If area of contact increases, see, for example, if you take a flattened tire, or I can say deflated tire, గాలి లేకుండా ఉండే టైర్ తీసుకొని మనం తొక్కుతుంటే ఏమవుతుందన్న, గాలి లేనప్పుడు ఏరియా ఇంక్రీజ్ అవుతుందా? ఐ మీన్ ఎయిర్ లేదనుకోండి, ఒక టైర్లో సైకిల్ టైరే ఉంది, సైకిల్ టైర్ కానీ లేదంటే ఒక బైక్ టైర్ కానీ ఉందనుకుందాం. లెట్స్ సే యూ హ్యావ్ అ బైక్, ఇట్స్ ట్యూబ్ గాట్ deflated, దెన్ టైర్ ఆల్సో గెట్స్ deflated, అంటే ఫ్లాట్ అయిపోయింది. ఫ్లాట్ అయినప్పుడు ఇక్కడ మీకు ఫ్లాట్ టైర్ రోడ్ మీద ఉన్నప్పుడు when it is touching the road it becomes flat. This is a deflated tire. Whereas if you take a tire filled with air, which is called as inflated tire, deflated means what? Deflated means flat tire. Whereas inflated tire means the tire is filled with air, right? Generally it goes smooth on the road. The tire which is filled with air will go smooth on the road, whereas this flattened tire or deflated tire does not move smoothly on the road, because area of contact increases, area ఇక్కడ ఎక్కువ ఉంది, ఏరియా ఎక్కువ ఉన్నప్పుడు frictional force ఎక్కువ అవుతుంది. rolling frictional force will be more. When you take inflated tire, when the tire is filled completely with air, there you can reduce the friction. So rolling frictional force depends upon the area of contact. That is the reason I am giving you. Inflated tire means what? Tire is smooth, tire is completely filled with air. This runs smoothly on the road. Whereas deflated tire, here rolling friction will be more, because area of contact is more. So frictional force depends upon area of contact. Whereas kinetic friction doesn't depend upon area of contact. Remember, these 2 points are very, very important to be noted. I'm sorry. Okay, right. Now, again, still we write the same formula for rolling friction as well. Rolling friction Fr is equal to mu r into L. Again, you see, let me write like this. Fr is directly proportional to normal force. If I remove this proportional symbol, I'll get some constant, which implies Fr is equal to mu r into L. where mu r is called as proportionality constant called coefficient of rolling friction. Fine. So whether you take limiting friction or you take kinetic friction or you take rolling friction, in all these three you will have the same formula, but here mu will change according to the type of friction. If you take static friction, you will get mu s. If you take kinetic friction, you will get mu s. If you take rolling friction, you will get mu r. Why it is different means, static friction you have to apply more force. In static friction you have to apply more force, and in as the body is at rest, initially you have to apply more force, then static frictional force also gets increased. Second one is kinetic friction. Kinetic friction is somewhat less when compared to static friction, whereas rolling friction is further less when compared to kinetic friction, right? So because body can easily roll on the surface, you will only to apply much force for rolling bodies, right? So from this what you can conclude is which friction is highest. I can say that static frictional force is greater than kinetic frictional force is greater than rolling frictional force, right? Static frictional force is greater than kinetic frictional force is greater than rolling frictional force. But here Fs is self-adjustable, so instead of Fs I can also write Fl. Limiting friction is greater than Fk is greater than rolling frictional force. Because limiting friction is a part of static friction force, I can write like this. But you have the formula for limiting friction, mu s into n, is it not? Implies mu s into n is greater than mu s into n is greater, sorry, mu k into n is greater than mu r into n. N is balanced by what? Normal force is balanced by mg in case of a horizontal surface. Not every time mg. Don't consider n as mg every time. Right? N eppudu mg kaadu nana. N becomes mg. N is balanced by mg only on the horizontal surface. Right? So, anyways, I can cancel this n in all the three parameters or in all the three factors. Then I can say that coefficient of static friction is slightly greater than coefficient of kinetic friction, which in turn is slightly greater than coefficient of rolling friction. Remember this. Remember this point. Important point. Right? Mu s is greater than mu k is greater. Anyways, it will be slightly less. Mu k is slightly less than mu s, and mu r is slightly less than mu k. Right? Fine. Remember this. Now, what is the unit of mu and on what factors mu will depend? First point, mu, whether you take mu s or mu k or mu r, all the three mu s, mu k and mu r all will come under mu only. This is called as coefficient of friction. This is called as coefficient of friction. I am removing the front word. It can be static, it can be kinetic, or it can be rolling. All I am writing as mu. Right? So this mu, coefficient of friction, depends upon what? It depends upon the pair of the pair of surfaces, or I can say pair of materials of surfaces in contact. Depends upon what? The pair of materials of surfaces in contact. పెయిర్ ఆఫ్ మెటీరియల్స్ ఆఫ్ సర్ఫేసెస్ ఇన్ కాంటాక్ట్. పెయిర్ ఆఫ్ మెటీరియల్స్ అంటే నేను ఒక రబ్బర్ తీసుకున్నా, లైక్ ఐరన్ వీల్ ఉంది, ఐరన్ వీల్, అండ్ ఇఫ్ ఐ టేక్ అనదర్ వన్ rubber wheel, right? I mean, so when both ply on the road, both vehicles, like if you take road roller which has iron wheel, and when you take a bus, it has a, right, I mean, rubber wheel. So on what factors it depends means, it depends upon the iron which is in contact with the floor, and also rubber tire is in contact with the floor. So mu value changes, right? Mu value will change. It depends upon the nature of materials, or I can say type of materials of surfaces in contact. Contact surfaces ki types of materials will depend on it, right? So remember this. Right. Now let me come to the unit. Now when I have written the any friction you take, whether it is static friction, kinetic friction, or rolling friction, I am using simply the letter F. This is friction. Frictional force is directly proportional to normal force, right? From this, frictional force is equal to mu into N, right? From this I can write mu is equal to F upon N, right? Now mu is equal to F by N. What is this F? F is frictional force and N is normal force. Both are of similar physical quantities. This is a force, this is a force. Force by force. Force, unit of force is Newton, unit of this force is also Newton, normal force. When both are expressed in Newton, what is the unit of mu? Unit of mu is nothing but no unit at all, because Newton by Newton gets cancelled. So that is the reason mu has no unit, and also it has no dimension. We have studied units and dimensions, right? You know how to express dimensional formula of force. I'll write dimensional formula of force is nothing but mlt raised to the power minus 2. This is the dimensional formula of force. As both are forces, you have to write mlt to the power minus 2 numerator and also in denominator. So all will get cancelled. So when all get cancelled, it has no dimensions at all, because you are getting a number, right? So therefore I can say dimensional formula, or mu has, let me write like this, it has no dimensions. It has no dimensions. It has no unit as well as it has no dimensions, right? Force by force, dimensional formula mlt to the power minus 2 by mlt to the power minus 2, all will get cancelled. You will get just pure number. Fine. Right, this is about friction. Now let us get one clarity on direction of friction. Very, very important topic, right? Let us get clarity on the direction of friction. How friction will act. Let's see. For example, I have a plank అంటే ఏం లేదన్నా, ప్లాంక్ మీన్స్ ఒక చెక్క ముక్క అనుకోండి, చెక్క ముక్క ఇట్లా ఉంటుంది ప్లాంక్. I have a plank. This is a plank. So PLNK. This is a plank. Okay. This is nothing but a cardboard అనుకోవచ్చు, ఆర్ లేకపోతే ఒక చెక్క ముక్క అనుకోండి. కార్డ్బోర్డ్ మీద ఆన్ ది ప్లాంక్ I have a block of mass m, right? On the plank I have a block of mass m. Let me consider this as block of mass m, right? Now let's say plank is moving with a velocity 2v and this block is moving with a velocity v. Okay, what is the direction of friction between the surfaces of block and plank? What is the direction of friction between the surfaces in contact? Which surface is in contact with surface? Bottom surface of plank is in contact with the top surface of plank. Bottom surface of plank is in contact with the top surface of plank. Is it not? So I want, what is the direction of friction between the surfaces in contact? Let me write the question. I want, what is the direction of friction between the surfaces in contact? Between the surfaces in contact. This is the question. Right? So to understand this, we should know how this block moves relatively with plank. Relatively with respect to plank. In order to understand the direction of friction, how this block is moving relatively with respect to plank. Plank is moving with velocity 2v. Block is also moving with velocity v in the same direction. Both are moving the same direction. But relatively, I said, relatively means what, Nana? Right? Relatively means what? Let me do like this. I have to find out the relative velocity of block with respect to plank, because I want the frictional force between the surfaces in contact. Aithe, let me write like this. VB is nothing but velocity of block. VP is called as velocity of plank. PLNC plank or simply K. I'm not sure. I'm not bothered about the spellings, right? So plank, Planck's constant, Planck kadu, mean that is the scientist name. Planck, there you will come across PLNK, ANK anukunta, but here I'm not sure. Anyways, I forgot the spelling of Planck, so you can just go through. Velocity of Planck and velocity of block. Velocity of block I have taken as v. Velocity of Planck I have taken as 2v. So with what velocity this block is moving with respect to Planck? And em rastam, relative velocity rastam. Right? Now if you remember, relative velocity is nothing but velocity of block with respect to Planck. I am writing bar. over it. Velocity, okay, let me put capital B so that capital B, capital P anukundam, capital B, okay. Velocity of block with respect to Planck. So how to write this? Velocity of block minus velocity of Planck. Is it not? Velocity, relative velocity concept gurtu techukondi, right? Go through my previous videos. Right, velocity of block minus velocity of Planck. What is velocity of block? V, and here I put arrow mark over its head, so I have to write in vector form. So this will be equal to what? What is the velocity of block? V into I cap, because this is moving along x direction, positive x direction. In positive x direction, I will take the unit vector as I cap, minus what is Vp bar? That is equal to 2V into I cap, because this is also moving towards right side. Now what is the difference you are getting? This difference comes out to be minus V into I cap. This negative sign indicates what? This negative sign indicates that even though block is moving towards right side, but with respect to Planck, block is moving towards left. This negative sign indicates that the block is relatively moving backward with respect to plank. Fine? With respect to plank. Note this point. Very, very important. Pause cheskondi, note cheskondi. Right? Now let me show you. That is, okay, let me write here. That is motion of block. How is motion of block? Motion of block is towards left side or right side? Is towards left with respect to plank. With respect to plank. Right? Hence, when motion of the block is towards left, what is the direction of frictional force? Frictional force always opposes the relative motion between the bodies. Is it not? So let me draw like this. Let me draw separately. This is a block. This is a block which is moving towards left side with respect to plank. With how much velocity? Vi cap. Vi cap. I am not putting negative sign now. Negative sign indicates that it is moving backwards. I am showing you backwards. So how should the friction acts on this block? Friction has to oppose. So Fk, friction will come into picture on the block towards right side. This will try to stop the motion of the block. Fk, right? Important point. And whereas, as you know very well, friction is an internal force. Friction is an internal force, right? So how the friction will act on the plank? Right? Friction is an internal force. As friction is an internal force, action-reaction pair takes place. Important point to be noted. As friction is an internal force, action-reaction pair exists. Where it exists? Action-reaction pair exists between the surfaces in contact. What is second surface? What is second body here we have considered? Plank. Right? So, if kinetic friction acts on block towards right side, that is, if I consider this as action, if this kinetic friction is action, then reaction force is on plank. Reaction force is on the plank. Plank will be, this is a plank, and the frictional force will be towards left side on the plank. Right? If kinetic friction on the block is considered to be action, then the kinetic friction on the plank is considered to be reaction, which acts towards left side. Because plank is moving towards right side with velocity 2v, right? So kinetic friction acts towards left side because of relative motion between the block and the plank. So important point here, some points to be noted. If kinetic friction on block is considered to be action, then kinetic friction on the plank is considered to be reaction. And as you know that action and reaction pair acts on two bodies. They will not act on a single body. We have studied long way ago, like in the very starting topics of Newton's laws of motion. Action and reaction pair do not act on the same body. They will act on two different bodies. Here one body is block, other body is plank. Is it not? Right? So action acts on one body and reaction acts on another body. If I consider this as action, if I consider this friction as action, then the reaction will act on the another body. This is reaction. This becomes a reaction. This becomes reaction. Action is taking place on one body, reaction is taking place on another body, right? And they are opposite, they should be opposite in direction. Action and reaction always act in the opposite direction, but they act on different bodies, right? Fine. Let me give you an example. Let me give an example so that you will get some clarity about friction. You will get some clarity about friction. Okay. Example. I have a block of mass n. I have a block of mass n which lies on the floor or which lies on the horizontal surface. This is horizontal surface. Whenever I mention smooth surface, then only you have to consider that it has frictionless. Smooth surface annappude frictionless ankovalana, otherwise it is rough only. I did not mention this as smooth surface, so it is rough surface. It is assumed to be a rough surface, right? Rough surface. For smooth surface, there is no friction at all, right? It is, of course, that is the ideal case only, but without friction, I mean, universe is not there, is it not? I mean, we never exist. I mean, even galaxies, I mean, universe will not exist, right? We are nothing without friction. But in case of, like, in ideal case, we'll take friction as zero. Just like ideal strings, for ideal strings, we take tension as zero. I mean, sorry, not tension as zero. Ideal case, like massless and inextensible strings are considered to be ideal strings. In case of springs, it should be massless again, and also it is also inextensible, right? So ideal cases. But anyways, ideal friction, I mean, friction always exists, but in case of ideal problems, when we do problems based on smooth surfaces, then we will not consider friction into consideration. But here, friction is there. I am pushing the block with a force F. I am pushing the block with a force F. This block is at rest. Till when the block is at rest? Till when the block will be at rest? The block will be at rest till it reaches maximum value of static friction. What is first case? Case 1 is if applied force is or external force is less than limiting friction. Does the block move? Limiting friction kante takku unte applied force, block never moves. Then block is at rest. Block is at rest. So which type of friction you can observe here? When the block is at rest, you observe static friction, is it not? So therefore friction exists is static friction. Friction exists is static friction here, right? Now if so, I can write like this: static friction Fs is equal to F. This is static friction. I did not come up to limiting friction, right? Limiting friction in Fs is equal to F ankuntunna, because this is self-adjusting force. If you apply a force of 1 Newton, this static frictional force also gets an equal 1 Newton in the opposite direction. If you apply a force of 2 Newton, but still the block is unable to move, what is the value of frictional force? Static frictional force is again 2 Newton. right? So case 2, let me write, if case 2 is if applied force is greater than or equal to limiting friction. Applied force is greater than or equal to limiting friction. In this case, body will be in motion, right? If F is equal to FL, then the body is ready to move. If capital F is equal to FL, then the body is ready to move. Whereas when capital F is greater than FL, then the body will be in motion. So I've included all these, two cases. Block will be in motion. Block will be in motion. And the friction exists is called what? Whenever the block is in motion. Whenever the block is in motion, and the friction exists is called as kinetic friction. And the friction exists is called kinetic friction. Fine. So in this case, when it is kinetic friction, I have to show the kinetic friction as well. I have to show the kinetic friction. So for this block, I am drawing the diagram, same diagram. Let me show you in different block of mass m, right? Here when you apply a force, F towards right side, frictional force will come into picture here. This is Fk. Kinetic friction is acting in the opposite direction to the block with respect to the block. With respect to block, Fk is the right. Now here, what is the weight of the block? Weight of the block is mg and normal force is n. Normal force is n. Now, as capital F is greater than Fl, limiting friction, the block starts moving. So block has acceleration A towards right side. Is it not? So is there a net force? When the block is moving towards right side, there should be net force this time. Here net force is 0. In this case, when F is equal to Fl, F is equal to Fs, or F is equal to Fl, capital F is less than Fl, then block is at rest. So what I mean to say is net force is 0 in that case, because F is equal to Fs we got. If you remember, here I got F is equal to Fs. When both are equal, net force is what? Net force is 0. When the applied force is equal to static friction, net force is 0. But here, capital F, when kinetic friction will come into picture? Kinetic friction will come into picture only when the block moves. Right? What is net force now? I can write for this. I can write net force as nothing but capital F minus this side, left side, what you have? Fk. F minus Fk. Is it not? But F net is nothing but the net force acting on the block of mass A, which is moving with an acceleration A. So I can write MA. MA is equal to F minus Fk. MA is equal to F minus Fk. Now let me erase these two here. Now let me show you what is the value of acceleration. Okay, let me write like this, which implies MA is equal to capital F minus, what is the value of Fk? What is the formula for Fk? We have the formula for Fk. We have formula for Fk as mu k into n. Mu k into n, is it not? But n is balanced by what? N is balanced by mg. So I can write this one as F minus mu k into mg. This is the value of MA. This is the value of MA. Now therefore I can say that what is your acceleration? From this I can write A is equal to F minus mu k into mg upon n, or మంచిగా మనము అందంగా రాయాలనుకుంటే ఫార్ములాని స్ప్లిట్ చేయండి. F by m minus mu k, mm gets cancelled, mu k into g. This is the formula. Either you can remember this formula మీకు ఏది ఈజీ అనిపిస్తుంది గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి, ఆర్ రిమెంబర్ దిస్ వన్. దిస్ ఈస్, I mean, no need to remember, you can do this, right? When can you expect acceleration? Acceleration comes into picture only when the body moves. And what is the formula we got for acceleration of the block? Acceleration of the block we are getting as applied force minus frictional force which is acting in a backward direction divided by mass. Right? Remember this, important. Right. Now let me give you an example problem. I'll give you one numerical. Try to solve this and I will wind up the class. It is taking longer time to explain, but I need to take more and more classes to complete this fiction. Right. Now let me give an example. Question number 1, I'm giving you a body of mass 60 kg. A body of mass 60 kg is pushed with enough force. Underline this. Enough force. Right? Or I can say with just enough force. Just enough force. Okay? To start it. Moving on a rough surface. Moving on a rough surface. Try to understand. The body of mass 60 kg is pushed with just enough force to start it moving on rough surface. With μs is equal to, with, I have given coefficient of static friction as 0.5. And as you know, coefficient of kinetic friction is less than coefficient of static friction. So let me take its value as 0.4. There is a slight difference, but anyways coefficient of kinetic friction is always less than coefficient of static friction, right? And force continues to act, and the force continues to act. Then find acceleration. Right? Pause it. Try to solve. Fine. So now, how to approach this problem? Read the sentence. I'm just pushing a body of mass 6 kg with just enough force. With just enough force means what? Just enough force means this force is sufficient to move the block. ఇది మూవ్ చేయడానికి సఫిషియంట్ ఫోర్స్ ఎప్పుడు వస్తుంది? when I reach limiting friction. That means this force is limiting friction. That means applied force must be equal to what? Limiting friction. Let's say I have a block of mass 60 kg. This is M. Mass is equal to 60 kg. M is equal to 60 kg, which is lying on the floor. It has acceleration because the block is also having kinetic friction. The coefficient of kinetic friction is given. The block is moving. So when you apply a force of F is equal to limiting friction, the block starts, the block is ready to move in this case. But when the applied force is greater than FL limiting friction, that means kinetic friction will come into picture, right? So F is equal to FL అనుకోండి ఇక్కడ, F is equal to FL or F is greater than FL, right? In this case, anyways, applied force is greater than this kinetic friction. What is net force? Now? Okay, let me write here. This solution I will start from here. Net force is capital F minus Fk. right? Net force is cap left minus Fk. Now what is F net? F net is nothing but Ma is equal to what is cap left? Cap left is equal limiting friction, here we have taken, is it not? So in place of cap left I can write limiting friction minus kinetic friction. But as you know, but limiting friction is equal to mu s into n, and Fk is equal to mu k into n. Mu k into n, is it not? So I'll put these values. Therefore, Ma is equal to mu s into n minus mu k into n. I can take n as common in right side. So what I will get is Ma is equal to mu s minus mu k into n. But n is balanced by what? This is normal force. This one is weight of the body. N is balanced by weight of the body, weight of the block. So right. So here I can write Ma is equal to Ma, right here, which implies Ma is equal to mu s minus mu k into mg. I can cancel m on both sides. Let me take the value of g as 10 meter per second square for simplicity, for our simplicity. For my convenience, I will take the value of g as 10 meter per second square, right? So finally, mm gets cancelled. You got the formula for acceleration as, acceleration I am writing here, A is equal to mu s minus mu k into g. For my convenience, I am taking value of g as 10 meter per second square. Mu s value is given here, mu k value is given here. 0.5 minus 0.4 into 10, which comes out to be 0.1 into 10, 0 decimal gets cancelled, 1 meter per second square. That means block moves with an acceleration of 1 meter per second square towards right side. Fine, Anna? So let me make another video. I'll wind up the class. It's almost 53 minutes. It is taking almost 9 GB. I'm unable to upload. Okay, right now. Thank you all.